My name is Ali Edelstein, and I'm the Fulbright Program Manager here at the Fulbright Commission in Brussels, Belgium, where the Fulbright Schuman Award is administered. As you all know, the Fulbright Schuman Award is a really unique Fulbright grant, and it's open to citizens of all 28 EU member states. So today we have so many of you all tuning in from all across the EU. I've seen Germany, Italy, UK, Ireland. I see someone from Nairobi, Netherlands. So we really appreciate you taking the time to tune into this webinar. Today we'll be talking about two main issues. The first is the Fulbright Schuman Award. So the details, how much money it offers, who is eligible to apply. We'll talk about how to navigate the application process, as well as some examples, some tangible examples of what successful applicants look like. And then we'll end this presentation with suggestions on how to find a host institution in the United States, because as a Fulbright Schuman applicant, you are responsible for finding your own placement at an appropriate U.S. institution. So we have some schools from the MPSA network here today to talk a little bit about the programs that they offer, and then we'll end with some question and answer sessions. So the real purpose of the Fulbright Schuman Award is to promote mutual understanding between the two entities that fund the award, which are the European Union and the United States. So successful project proposals are going to suggest study, research, or lecturing opportunities at U.S. institutions. And those projects are going to relate to U.S.-EU affairs, EU policy, or EU institutions. Traditionally, when people hear these topics, they're thinking that they have to be studying international relations or political science to be eligible for this award. And that's not the case. As you all know, EU policy is very far-ranging, and so we actually encourage applicants from the arts and the sciences to apply for this award as well. If you look at the nature of our applicants, it's open to students, scholars, and international educators. The difference between a student and a scholar is whether or not you're going to have a PhD at the time of your departure for the United States. So applicants who are going to the U.S. to do research as part of their PhD are applying to our program as students. The reason that this is an important difference to note is that if you're applying as a Fulbright Schuman student, you are required to remain in the United States for at least 6 months. Whereas if you're applying as a scholar with a PhD, terminal degree, or extensive professional experience, then you're allowed to remain in the U.S. for a minimum of 3 months. The maximum amount of time that a Fulbright Schuman Award is granted for is 9 months, meaning that you can get a maximum of 29,000 euros. Now, for those of you pursuing a master's degree or a PhD in the United States and applying for Fulbright Schuman funding as part of that experience, we will continue to sponsor your visa for the continuing year that you remain in the United States, but you'll be responsible for finding your personal funding for the next few years after that. For international educators, this is a special award that we offer for people who have extensive experience within the field of international education and are looking to go to the U.S. to collaborate with international admissions officers there about trends in international mobility, curriculum design, and other best practices within the field. As I said before, this award is open to citizens of all 28 EU member states, and it's open to people who have significant experience in at least 2 EU member states. So you need to have spent at least 3 months in 2 different locations within the EU. This requirement is not able to be waived. It can be an Erasmus experience that you've had, or another study or professional experience. And we really try to give preference to candidates that have at least 2 years of academic or professional experience beyond the bachelor's degree. So if you have a master's degree, we do consider that as meeting the 2-year preference. And we're really seeking EU professionals or professionals in training because the purpose of this award is to grant a U.S. experience and improve mutual understanding amongst future leaders within the European Union. So this award has a lot of benefits. It's one of the most well-funded awards in the European Union because it's funded in part by the European Commission itself. So the award grants you 2,000 euros to relocate to the United States, as well as 3,000 euros per month that you're there. We also have a special relationship with Brussels Airlines that allows us to give grantees going to New York or DC a 15% discount on their airline ticket. We do offer J1 visa sponsorship and J2 visa sponsorship for your dependents. This is really important because we have a lot of grantees who've already been working with their U.S. universities that they're wanting to study or do research at, and those universities will offer you J1 or F1 sponsorship through their school. If you receive a Fulbright award, especially a Fulbright Schuman, you do need to travel on the J1 visa that we provide, and that means that we do all the paperwork for you. We pay for the visa fees, but it also means that there's a 2-year requirement after you finish your studies or your research in the United States, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Once you're in the U.S., the benefits don't stop. We do cover you with sickness and accident insurance provided by the U.S. Department of State, which is really important because, as many of you know, healthcare is very expensive in the United States, and so it's very important that you have coverage in case something happens. And we also have programming from the time that you set foot in the U.S. to the time you leave. All students who are arriving in the U.S. Are invited to attend gateway orientations at the beginning of their stay, meaning that we pay for you to fly to a different city in the United States where you get to meet Fulbright grantees coming to the U.S. from around the world. And they talk about different introductory things such as American culture and how to integrate onto your U.S. university campus. And then once you've had some time to settle in, we'll also invite you, students, to enrichment seminars where you can focus on topics like U.S. democracy. For scholars, most of your programming is going to come from the Occasional Lecturer Fund, which is a fund managed by CIES that gives you money to lecture at a different U.S. university other than the one that you're performing your research at. And then, of course, after you return back to your country in the EU, you will have a prestigious title and access to an alumni network. The Fulbright program has over 318,000 alumni around the world, so that's a really nice network to be plugged into. I talked about having to travel on a J1 visa, and this is really important because we do file the paperwork and pay the costs, but it does come with a requirement called the 2-year country requirement. And this requires you to prove permanent residency in either your country of citizenship or the country that you're currently living in. And you must return to Europe for at least 2 years before you're ever allowed to return to the United States again as a permanent immigrant, someone who's looking to live or work permanently in the United States. That doesn't prevent you from going back to the U.S. to further your studies or to travel, but it is a requirement that you must meet in order to ever move back to the United States permanently. And this is really important because the purpose of our award is to promote mutual understanding, and so it's really important that the grantees or the applicants who are applying for our award are dedicated to moving back to their home country and sharing their newfound knowledge with their fellow citizens. So the application process is pretty simple. Our website is www.fulbrightschuman.eu. You'll find a direct link in the useful links box on the bottom left-hand corner of this page. And you'll submit a preliminary application sometime between now and February 1st. It's going to ask you for personal details. It's going to ask you to upload a CV or a resume, as well as a one-page project statement. In these personal details, we're looking to see certain eligibility, that you meet certain eligibility requirements, including, are you an EU citizen? Have you already spent extensive amount of time in the United States? Are your grades what we're looking for? We're looking for academic excellence in our applicants. And then we're looking to see if you've met that three-month significant experience in at least 2 EU universities. For the one-page project statement, you'll find examples available online or on the left-hand side under Documents to Keep. I've uploaded several different types of one-page project statements, including ones for the sciences, one for the arts, and one for higher education. But basically, they follow the same structure. It's one page that details the background of what you're wanting to study, research, or lecture on in the United States, as well as the objectives that you hope to achieve, and the methodology about how you're going to achieve them. After you submit that preliminary online application, I will review it and email you back with a notice of your eligibility. If you are eligible, I'll include a letter that has a link to the final online application for you to complete. Once you receive that letter, you'll go ahead and forward that along with your preliminary application that includes your CV and your one-page project statement to your local Fulbright office. And all of the local Fulbright offices within the EU know about our award, and they'll have a prearranged interview date sometime between February 1st and March 1st, where you'll be able to go to their office in person and complete an interview. It's really important that you contact your local Fulbright office as soon as you're informed of your eligibility, because each country has a different interview date. These interview dates are a mandatory portion of the application process. And that's because we think it's so important that you all have ambassadorial qualities and are able to interview with these local Fulbright offices in person and talk about the value of your project. So when you go to the interview, we're really looking to determine that your project is relevant to U.S.-EU affairs, that it relates to a specific EU policy or an institution, and that it's a topic of common importance, shared concern. We're looking to see that your project is feasible. How well have you thought out how you're going to carry out your plan? And has anyone ever done it before? Is it creative? We want you to justify why now is the right time in your career as opposed to earlier or later on when you have more professional experience. We're looking to see why you need to do your study, research, or lecturing in the U.S. as opposed to here in the EU. We're looking to evaluate your English proficiency and your ambassadorial qualities, because we receive pretty intelligent applicants, but we're looking for people who can really explain their projects in simple terms and educate people on their culture and their country. And finally, we're looking that you're going to demonstrate a multiplier effect. So how will receiving a Fulbright Schuman grant affect other people? Will you set up linkages between your host institution in the U.S. and your institution here in the EU? Are there any advancements in research that you're going to make that will affect both countries? Those are the types of things that we're looking to determine when you're speaking with your local Fulbright office. You'll be interviewed by Fulbright staff, and sometimes they'll invite alumni, government officials, and EU experts to review your applications and interview you as well. When you're completing the final online application, keep in mind that the deadline is March 1st. You'll be selecting European Union as the country that you're applying to, and this is really important to remember, because if you select your country of citizenship as the country that you're applying to, our office here in Belgium won't receive your application and you will not be considered. So I can't stress that enough, how important it is to select the correct country, so European Union. The final online application is quite long and time-consuming, which is why we end the preliminary application February 1st and give you at least a month to complete the application process. If you're a student, you'll be submitting essays, a personal statement about your background, what motivates you, what you're looking forward to, as well as a study objective proposal that kind of outlines the program that you're hoping to follow and what you're hoping to learn academically. For scholars, we're going to ask that you submit an essay about your research, so a research proposal and a biography. And it's really concise. It's 3 to 5 pages for the research proposal, and then you get another few pages for the biography. So it's really important that you learn to pare down the information that you're going to be uploading into the final online application. We'll ask for your transcripts and your diploma from your most recent post-secondary degree, as well as any test scores that you may have. If you don't have test scores and they're not required for the U.S. program that you're applying to, you don't need to take a test just for. We do ask that you upload 3 letters of recommendation into the online application, and this needs to be done not by you, but by your references by the March 1st deadline. We do not accept any paper documents in our office or email documents either. So it's really important that when you have access to the final online application, you register your references' email addresses to the system. The system will automatically send them a letter with instructions on how to upload their letter of recommendation, and it's your responsibility to track that progress and make sure that those letters are uploaded by the March 1st deadline. So we'll have the selections here in Brussels in March, and we'll take into account the feedback from your local Fulbright office about your interview there. And then after we've made our selections and notified you in March or April, you'll have a pre-departure meeting at your local Fulbright office in June or July, and that'll help connect you with the other people from your country traveling to the U.S. on a Fulbright grant. While you're in the U.S., you will be liaising with our office here in Belgium as far as programming goes for those gateway and enrichment seminars, the occasional lecture fund that I talked about. And your departures will take place between August 1st and March 31st of the following year that you apply. And that's really important because if you're not planning to leave the United States, you'll have to seek special permission from our office and from the U.S. Department of State. Once you're in the U.S., we really just want you to have fun. If you're looking to see examples of what our grantees are doing right now and what they're accomplishing and learning about, you can go to our Fulbright Schuman website and click on the News and Events section where you can read blogs about the enrichment seminar, which is what you'll see a picture of here. This is one of our grantees who is learning about refugee settlement in the U.S. at an enrichment seminar. And this is a picture of one of the conferences with heads of state that she attended. So just to give you a few examples of successful applicants before I pass it off to the APSIA network, Dr. Lemi Petropoulou from Greece is one of this year's successful grantees going to the University of Michigan. And her project is really interesting because she's studying haptic tactile technology, or how to sense a book in a way other than reading it. How do you feel a book? How do you hear a book? And most people wouldn't really associate that with a traditional EU policy proposal. But in fact it is. She's tying it to innovation within the U.S. and the EU and looking at how it will affect disability readers as well. Sarah Lopez Selga is from Spain, and she's our International Educator Award recipient this year. She's studying the implications of the new Erasmus for All policy on the development of EU partnerships with U.S. institutions, specifically universities. She'll be at the State University System of California. And then the last three examples that I included are all Fulbright Schuman grantees this year who are attending APSIA schools. So Dr. Blassim, you can find his sample abstract in the one-page proposal under Documents to Keep under Science. He's going to be studying the commercialization regulations surrounding stem cell therapy and the differences in the U.S. and the EU at Harvard's Kennedy School. Dr. Ray Roux is from France, and he's going to be looking at the management of EU's international reputation in Canada and the U.S. at Georgetown. And finally, Mr. Lacey is from Ireland, and he is studying democratic theory within the European Union at Princeton University. Mr. Lacey is an interesting example, especially because he applied to Ireland's Fulbright program and Fulbright Schuman's Fulbright program all at the same time. And it's important to know that this is allowed. You are allowed to apply to more than one country's Fulbright program simultaneously. However, if you are selected as a finalist for both awards, you can only select and choose to accept one of those awards. This is a picture of our online advising channel at www.youtube.com/FulbrightBE. I forgot to put that in the useful links, but I'll go ahead and add that while APSIA is presenting. But here is a channel where you can see interviews with previous European Fulbright Schuman grantees and hear about their experiences in the United States, and they'll share their best tips and practices for completing the Fulbright Schuman online application as well. This is what the website looks like, and you all will be able to find information here under the Grants for EU Citizens tab. And then the link to the preliminary application is under Info and Application. So right now, I'll go ahead and pass it off to Maggie Brown. She's from the APSIA Network, which stands for the Association of Professional Schools and International Affairs. APSIA schools are a great option if you're looking and you haven't decided to find a U.S.
As Ali mentioned, I'm a program associate at APSIA, and we represent 34 member schools worldwide, many of which are located in the United States, and we have 5 of them here with us today. Our organization is dedicated to the improvement of professional education and international affairs, and our schools offer degrees in a breadth of topics and disciplines, including public affairs, public policy, international relations, government, economics, global affairs, and many others. So depending on your research interests, you'll definitely be able to find a school in our network that would be a good match. Throughout the year, we offer recruitment fairs so that you can meet with our admissions professionals. We also, on our website, which you can see a screenshot here, have profiles for all of our affiliate and full member schools. We also offer a directory of scholarship resources. And we also provide contact information for all of our career offices. You know, we take the professional part of our name very seriously, and so connecting students with careers is really important to us. I'm going to pass it on to our school reps so that you can learn more about our different programs. But if you have any specific questions about APSIA or what we do, you can see at the top menu, Learn and Connect. Under that menu, you'll find a contact form. Please feel free to contact me with any questions you might have about our organization.
Great. Well, thank you, Maggie. Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Woolner, and I'm the Assistant Director of Graduate Admissions at the George Washington University's Elliott School of International Affairs. We're located in Washington, D.C. Our location is part of one of the great benefits here at the Elliott School. We are in the very center of everything here in the nation's capital, and we are the largest research institution in D.C. So for those of you that are looking into doing master's programs here in the United States, the Elliott School does offer 10 different MA programs ranging from international affairs to international science technology. We have regional studies programs, development studies, security, almost anything you can possibly imagine. Within all of those programs, there's a lot of concentrations and professional specializations that you can choose. So there's a lot of great opportunities here. There's a lot of overlap amongst all of those programs. So if you choose a specific MA like security policy studies, you're definitely not confined into what that might mean. Within all of our MA programs, we do offer a capstone project that all of our students complete. They vary pretty greatly between the different programs, but a lot of the times our students are going to different organizations and saying, we want to solve one of your problems. So some of our students are able to go abroad and do research on the ground, are able to work in their own research interests into that capstone project. And you can find examples on our website from the International Development Studies program. And they do presentations every year, so that's a very great way to have some research as part of your program here at the Elliott School. Other research opportunities as a student, you can be a research assistant. Some faculty members do have grants that allow them to have graduate research assistants, so you can set that up once you're here. There are also centers and institutes here at the Elliott School. There's a variety of different ones, again, similar to our MA programs. And within those centers and institutes as well, for those of you that are interested in coming to the U.S. after PhD programs, they do often have visiting scholar programs. So you can come here for a certain amount of time and do research at GW in the U.S. with our faculty members. There might be some opportunity for teaching as well, so I would definitely suggest that you look into that if you can. Other outside of the classroom research opportunities that we offer here at the Elliott School, we have the International Affairs Review, which is a student publication. Every semester they publish a scholarly journal similar to a peer-reviewed journal of student work. They also publish op-eds almost every week from students from around the DC area as well as around the country. We also have independent studies can be part of your program as well. Instead of taking a 3-credit class, you can take an independent study and you can do a research project along with your coursework. And then generally in the academic coursework, we have a lot of research opportunities that you can take advantage of within the classes that you take.
This is Tina Ruby. I'm with the Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, and we are the oldest school for international affairs and are ranked #1 by Foreign Policy magazine for our programs. We have 5 area studies programs. You can go ahead and see all the different areas that we cover, as well as 3 functional degrees that are our bigger and broader programs. As with my colleague at GW, we like to say we're in the heart of Washington, D.C., which we feel is important for the study of international affairs because you have access to everything that the area offers, all the local lectures, all the ambassadors that come to speak. We'd also like to let you guys know that we have a great career support center. So most of our people go on to wonderful careers, degrees. I also have two of my colleagues here with me. I don't know if they'd like to say a couple of words about the school itself.
Sure. So because we have a large number of degrees, something to keep in mind is that it's a possibility to get a master's in one, but also do a certificate or pursue electives in the other degrees. And so there's a lot of options in terms of combining those different degrees with each other in terms of both certificates and masters. There's also dual degree options with the business school, the law school, and the PhD in government. So in addition to combining degrees within the School of Foreign Service, is also the option to combine with degrees outside of our school. In addition to the Career Center, we have a ton of publications, faculty resources that happen on campus. We have a significant number of events that go on a regular basis at the school, and a ton of our students both intern as well as pursue graduate studies, or some of them also work full-time while pursuing graduate studies. So there's generally a lot of professional networking that happens through those different channels throughout the school year.
And all of our programs do have merit-based scholarships available when you apply. I know with our program, about 30% of our incoming class gets a scholarship. And of course, that's renewable for the second year. There are scholarships for second-year students as well. And I know that taking a look at all of our programs websites is always helpful for prospective students to see exactly how that's differentiated among the programs in the School of Foreign Service.
Thank you. Feel free to visit us at sfs.georgetown.edu.
Hello, everyone. This is Christine. I hope you can hear me. I'm coming in today from Syracuse, New York, at the Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs at Syracuse University. Our school is a little different and unique in that we're not just a school of professional graduate study. We're actually a school of social sciences. So all of the master's and PhD programs for all of the social science areas and disciplines reside within the school. And that allows us to have really top high-quality scholarship going on from multiple disciplines. And alongside this, within this larger School of Social Sciences, the Department of Public Administration and International Affairs offers the two professionally oriented master's degrees, the MPA and the MAIR. We are situated in central New York. It's a lovely community, and it's a nice place to come and get away from all the excitement of DC and New York, and to really focus in on your studies and your connections with your faculty and your fellow students. We have a really tight-knit community here, but we understand that there's a lot going on in the world, and you want to interconnect with all of those different organizations working in the public policy realm. So when you're done looking at your research and you want to see research in practice, we have a very large Maxwell and DC campus. The official public announcement came out today that we are now in partnership with CSIS, which is a large DC think tank called the Center for Strategic and International Studies. We are moving into our new headquarters in their brand new building right in the center of Washington, DC. The fourth floor of it will be Maxwell's home in DC, and we will allow for some really nice synergies for not only the research and the work that they're doing there between our students and faculty, but also give us a really nice headquarters for the 8+ classes we teach there every fall semester and in the spring and winter terms as well. Maxwell, because we do have all the high quality research and the research centers and institutes, one of those is the Moynihan Global Affairs Institute. It's well over 10 years old now, and within that are several programmatic institutes and centers that are very specific to regional studies, including the Center for European Studies and the Moynihan European Union Center. There's also programs there that deal with Middle East affairs and Latin and Caribbean America, but also topical. We have one of the largest database on the TNGO Leadership Project that looks at leaderships and leadership capacity and skill sets in NGOs around the world. So there's a lot of activity happening here. A number of you are interested in security studies. You can focus in security studies in both our PA and IR programs, and we have a specific certificate of advanced study in security studies, and that's partnered with one of the research centers called INSCIT, which is the Institute for National Security and Counterterrorism. It's a leading center of research in that field, headed by two Maxwell faculty, PA faculty, Professor Will Banks, who's a leading scholar in counterterrorism and law, and Professor Bob Barrett, who's retired Vice Admiral, U.S. Navy, who teaches our students, and he ran the Office of Naval Intelligence for many years prior to coming and promoting good scholarship and teaching our students here on campus. We're a pretty small program once you arrive in Syracuse, but it's a very diverse community. We have about 200 students in the professional master's program, but there are about 400 students school-wide at the graduate level across all the social sciences, including our own PhD program in public administration. But we have a really strong and loyal alumni network in nearly, the last count was 158 countries around the world. So there are opportunities to connect and engage with other Maxwell alumni outside of the school while you're here as a student and after you leave are pretty strong. And I'm happy to answer questions. My contact information, my email's on this slide, as well as a link to our website, so you can look up not only all the different opportunities that happen within the professional master's programs, but then a number of the certificate programs, which might be something you wish to earn while coming here and kind of completing your research in your PhD programs, if that's something that you're interested in.
Well, hello. Is everyone hearing me fine? It looks like you guys are heading down south and heading to Texas area. I want to present what we offer here at Texas A&M University at the Bush School of Government and Public Service. I'm assuming everyone can hear me okay on this. Let's cover what we have here at Texas A&M. And for those that aren't familiar with where we are located, we are in College Station, Texas. So we're centrally located within the state, within easy driving distance of 4 of the major cities within the United States, and that would include Houston and San Antonio, Dallas, Austin. So we are able to take advantage of some of the larger city happenings, but here in College Station we are definitely a college town, taking advantage of a lot of the materials here at Texas A&M. It is the 4th largest university in the nation at this point. We have surpassed about 52,000 enrollment, and we take advantage of that by offering a lot of opportunities here within the university. Many times our students are reaching outside of our 2 residential master's degrees. We offer them public service administration, and the other one, more relevant for AFSI, of course, is the international affairs. And we focus on 2 tracks within that program. And that's going to be national security and diplomacy and the international development and economic policy. The national security and diplomacy brings in approximately 75 students a year. The international development and economic policy was closer to about 25. So they're very unique disciplines. Students are able to elaborate within concentrations within those areas. The national security and diplomacy probably has, I believe, 6 different headings that students can work within. The international development has 4, and that it does include the economic policy, of course. So students are able to work with our professors, and these are professors that are both academic research as well for research projects as needed. Not a lot of our students go on for PhDs. They typically will head out into the workforce. The biggest contingency we have is in Washington, D.C. It may feel like it's a long way or seem like that in terms of people who aren't familiar with being able to move around. But our students here definitely are interacting with what is going on in the Washington, D.C. and other major metropolitan areas. We have a large group heading out to Houston and Austin. It's been developing out in Dallas here. And then we do have students from across the nation and a few from across the world. We're only about 10% international at this point. We would like to grow that. But we do realize that does take some funding options as well as hitting the right research. So I have some of the benefits there. Definitely, it's a wonderful university. One of the best things that we can offer in terms of not only the premier education, but we can do it at a fraction of the cost of many of the larger private universities. We actually, and this is part of the President Bush's library museum here, and they have a foundation, and their dedication to the students is to get as many students out within the public service field. And so they offer generous financial awards for all of our students, and that includes that any of our students come from outside of the state of Texas will receive non-resident tuition waivers that allows you to pay Texas rates. So we're running about $11,000 a year, and that is before any scholarship that would be given. Our average scholarship for the IA program last year was somewhere around $4,000. So you would be able to take that cost of that $11,000, and it becomes a very reasonable priced program that we are really doing very successful for employment. Students are averaging in the 80s to 90 percentiles for relevant careers within 6 months of graduation. So we've got, I think we're coming up with our 1,000th graduate alumni this coming May. So we're the newer guy on the block here in APSIA, but we are growing. We do have a great reputation, particularly in the national security and that international development fields. We want to bring in more students internationally. We'd love to see you guys interact with us. I can let you know more about pursue the research options. But I think in a nutshell, we do have 3 research institutes here with great opportunities. So definitely don't rule this out in the sense that, oh my gosh, it's way far south in Texas and it's not really relevant to the New York and DC areas. But we definitely put our students up there. There is the transportation issue. We can put you up there. You guys can take advantage of some of the funding offers we have through internship opportunities and some travel options. So just be in touch with me. My email is off to the side there. So this is Catherine Meyer. That's mine. I work with admissions and recruitment here, and our email address is off to the side with Bush School Admissions at tamu.edu. So just be in touch. We're definitely on the website. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I've been having some technical issues, but hopefully it's all clear now. I am Liz Wagner from the Fletcher School at Tufts University. We are located just outside of Boston, Massachusetts, and we're one of the older programs. We just celebrated our 80th anniversary, and we have 5 different programs that we offer here at the Fletcher School, as well as a pathway program. Our most popular and flagship program is our Master of Arts in Law and Diplomacy, and that's our 2-year flexible international affairs degree. At Fletcher, we're sort of known for our flexible curriculum and our community. We have a really strong, tight-knit community up here in Boston. We are about 550 students. We typically bring in around 270 students each fall across all of the different programs that we offer here at Fletcher. We're a pretty international program. On average each year, we're between 40 and 50% international and often have over 80 different countries represented here at the Fletcher School. And the way our curriculum is designed for most of our programs is that it's a pretty open curriculum. We typically offer over 170 classes per year, and so you're going to pick and choose the classes that fit you and your interest areas. As far as research goes at Fletcher, we have a number of different opportunities for you. We do have a capstone requirement, so that is a great opportunity as far as research goes. Most of our students do a traditional thesis, but most have the opportunity to take advantage of really capitalizing on the opportunity to do research well at Fletcher. And we also have a lot of students who utilize our various centers on campus. We have over 20 research centers, and so a lot of our students will do directed studies or work directly with faculty on some of their interests. And we also have a number of publications. So we have something called the Fletcher Forum, which is our international affairs journal, and we have a number of different journals on campus as well. So if you're interested in research opportunities, you really have a lot of sort of different options depending on your interests. As far as the application process goes, one thing to note, we do have a number of scholarships available. And typically we give our scholarships at Fletcher to both first and second years, so it's renewable for your second year if you're doing a 2-year program. And they're based on merit and need. And we feel very strongly at Fletcher that we want to give out as much money as we can to as many people as we can. So typically we give over 90% of those requesting scholarship aid some money. And so that's something to know when you're looking at your various programs. The other thing is we do have a really well-known faculty, and I will note that Professor Hendrickson is one of our professors here. He actually was an American Fulbright Schuman scholar and lectured at the College of Europe. So we have a long-standing history of this research, particularly in areas of studying the EU, and so we've got a lot of different resources for you. As far as Fletcher goes, if you have any sort of specific questions, I'm available for any questions that you may have. Again, my name is Liz Wagner, and you can email me at lizwagner@tufts.edu, or you can email Fletcher Admissions at Tufts. We're very happy to answer any questions that you may have about Fletcher or the programs that we offer, our research opportunities. And thank you so much, everyone, for having us.
I'm Allison Hill from the University of Southern California. I am representing the USC Master of Public Diplomacy, which is a joint program. From our slide, you'll see that we actually offer two programs. One program is for recent college graduates, and that would certainly include people who have 2 years of professional experience, as well as a one-year program for professionals who are returning to earn their master's degree. We certainly see one of the benefits of our location is that we are facing the Pacific Rim, and there's a tremendous amount of interest on the part of students of learning beyond Beltway politics, perhaps, or the major East Coast cities, and we certainly see that as a benefit. Another is that USC enrolls more international students than any other college or university in the United States, so you will definitely find it to be a welcoming environment. Our classes are very small. Currently, in our 2-year program, we have 55 students enrolled, and each year we look to have 20 to 25 students join our program. The reason is because each student may self-design their course of study after taking the core classes that are required in the first year. Not only are we a program of public diplomacy, but this program sits within the Annenberg School, where there are a number of master's degree programs as well as a PhD in communication. So within the broader context of research and social sciences, students have the opportunity to choose courses from communication, global communication, public relations, journalism, as well as from the School of International Relations, topics such as area studies, security studies, and defense. You'll see the listing of some of the current research projects, and you'll also see my contact information. You may email me at any time that you have questions, and we would invite your interest. Thank you.
All right, everyone, that concludes the school part of our presentation today. I'm sorry that Harvard Kennedy School of Government couldn't ultimately be here to join us, but you'll find their website to the left at hks.harvard.edu. Our office has several current grantees as well as alumni at the Harvard Kennedy School, so if you ever have any questions and you would like to connect with a current European Fulbright grantee studying there, I'm happy to provide you with their contact details. But as we continue on and move into the question and answer portion of our presentation, I'd like to share with you the links to the other Fulbright offices in Europe and some other locations as well. So depending on where you're based, you'll interview at your local Fulbright Commission, who will also be able to help you navigate the admissions process to U.S. universities or finding postdoc positions or applying for additional fellowships. And you'll also find a list of EU Fulbright programs on the documents to keep on the left-hand side of this screen. That's it for our presentation today. You'll find my contact details on the screen here. My email is fulbright@fulbright.be, and I am Miss Allie Edelstein, as many Europeans tend to call me Mr. Edelstein. So feel free to shoot me all of your emails and your questions about the award. Are there any questions that I can answer about the Fulbright Schuman Award, or that any of the schools can answer about their research programs, lecture opportunities, specific professors you want to reach out to, study programs, any of that? Now is your time to communicate with all of us. Because this award is open to citizens of all 28 EU member states that all have different grading scales, we don't really quantify it. We are looking to see that you have what are considered excellent grades in your country of residency or citizenship. And so if there's ever a doubt that your questions are not high enough to be considered academically excellent, then we'll consult with your local Fulbright office to determine whether or not you meet our standards. The Fulbright Schuman Award is a set award of 3,000 euros per month that you're in the United States, as well as a 2,000 euro travel relocation grant, which means that you receive that amount of money regardless of what your actual costs are. So if your costs are lower, then that's great for you. You can use it on the cost of living. If they're higher, then you will need to find your own personal funding to supplement the Fulbright Schuman Award. We don't ask for receipts on how you spend the money. It is meant to cover costs such as tuition fees or visiting scholar fees, as well as health insurance costs if you decide to purchase independent health insurance in addition to the State Department sickness and accident insurance. It can be used for books. We do not provide an additional stipend for dependents that accompany you. So if you plan to bring your spouse or your children, we will provide visa sponsorship for them on a J2 visa, but you will be responsible for providing the extra funds needed to sustain them while you're in the U.S. There is a form in the supplemental form section of the online application that you'll be granted access to once we determine your eligibility. However, we ask that you not use that supplemental form. As I said earlier in the presentation, we no longer accept paper documents via post or via email. So it's important that when you have access to the online system, you go in there and you'll see a section of the application entitled Recommendation Letters. You'll click on that section, enter the email addresses of your references, and the system will automatically send them all forms that they need to complete to submit their recommendation letter for your file. And you will be able to see how many recommendation letters have been submitted on your behalf. It is possible to submit your completed application before the references have submitted their letters. You'll still be able to track that progress. Under the Fulbright Schuman Award, you can spend time at more than one U.S. institution. However, if you choose to do this, you must spend at least 2 to 3 months at each institution, and you must provide a justification for why you need to split your time between 2 different places, because we're really looking to see that you integrate into the student or research community there, and to do that you need to at least stay for at least 2 to 3 months. And if you do choose to stay at 2 institutions, you will need to provide invitation letters for them both as well, specifying the dates that they expect to have you on their campus. Thibaud asks a question that's common to many of our Fulbright Schuman applicants. He's a French scholar currently working in Italy, so which Fulbright program should he apply to? Well, most Fulbright programs are based on country of citizenship. So if you are French and you're working in Italy, you won't be able to apply to the Italian Commission. You should apply to the French Commission or to the Fulbright Schuman program. You can also, as I said earlier in the presentation, apply to both programs simultaneously as well. It is wise to apply to whichever program, either the Schuman or the French program, that you think best fits your needs. If you can't significantly tie your project to U.S.-EU affairs or an aspect of EU policy, then I recommend not spending the time on the Fulbright Schuman application and focusing your energy on the Fulbright application to your local country of citizenship, because that Fulbright application is a long process, and so it's important to focus your energies on the one that's appropriate for you. When you submit that preliminary application for eligibility online, we'll ask about all of your previous experiences in the United States. If you indicate that you are currently in the United States, then you will need, or that you've been in the United States within the past 2 years, you'll need to send a scan of that J1 visa that you had to me at Fulbright@fulbright.be so that I can verify that you're still eligible for our award. It's important to note that if you are in the U.S. at the time of application, you are ineligible to receive this award. We're looking for people who are in the EU at the time of application. Part of that reason is because we expect you to interview at your local Fulbright office. The other part of that is because we're looking for people who have not yet had extensive experience in the United States. It differs from school to school. Some U.S. universities will require tuition fees for different visiting scholar or researcher positions. Postdoc positions are usually paid opportunities to teach or perform research. However, if you're attending and you've been invited as a visiting scholar, it's important that if there are any tuition fees associated with that visiting student or scholar program, that they're listed in the letter of invitation that you include in the application, if you have a letter of invitation to include in your final online application. Sickness and accident insurance provided by the U.S. Department of State does not cover your dependents that are traveling with you. It only covers you. As long as you've spent at least 3 months in your own country, which is France, then one other EU member state fulfills that experience in 2 EU member states. It has to be any 2, and one of those is allowed to be your country of citizenship or permanent legal residency. All right. Well, if it seems that all of your questions have been answered, I thank you all very much for attending today, and I encourage you to keep in touch